Okay, we are rolling. Welcome one, welcome all. Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. Well, it's been a monumental day for boxing and particularly for the heavyweight division. That's right, Wladimir Klitschko announces his retirement. It seemed like we was on the eve of an announcement of an Anthony Joshua Klitschko rematch, which would have occurred in Las Vegas. I thought that was a very strange decision considering that Joshua had won the first fight and he would have the power to be able to dictate where the rematch occurred. Do I think Anthony Joshua would have won the rematch more soundly than the first fight? Maybe, but it's a banana skin against Klitschko at any time in his career. So Joshua would have been favourite, probably more of the favourite in the rematch than in the first fight because he's had that top class experience now and he knows what, a great fighter like Vlad is all about. So I think maybe he would have won, but there's also that part of me that thinks that Anthony Joshua maybe have dodged a bullet here because it only takes a couple of punches for a heavyweight to be defeated, as young and as good as they are. Because the first fight, something interesting happened. When Wladimir had Anthony Joshua really hurt, I think in the early to mid stages, AJ looked all over the place when he was caught with that piston right hand right through the middle of his guard. Joshua just had no idea what had hit him. Right? Then Vitaly, who was a very aggressive fighter compared to Wladimir, so you wouldn't expect this coming from him, told his brother to take it easy and take his time on Joshua, not go for the haymakers because he could leave himself wide open. It's interesting. Had Vitaly told Vlad, go out there and throw leather like fire, maybe today we will be talking about Wladimir Klitschko retiring as world heavyweight champion. And I just think in that rematch, if Klitschko was a bit more aggressive, Joshua may beat him earlier, but he may also have knocked out Joshua. But ultimately, I think common sense has prevailed here. Because number one, he's one of, if not the best heavyweight of his era. I think second to his brother, to be honest with you. But total fights 69, 64 wins, 53 knockouts. That is very impressive considering that Vlad is really a cautious type of heavyweight. Only 5 defeats. And it is only 5 defeats. If you only lose 5 out of 69 fights, that is very impressive indeed. And let's just say it as it is. Wladimir Klitschko went out on a bang. Went out with an absolute bang. I'll tell you why. He proved he was nearly equal to a young, fresh, current, tremendous punching world champion like Anthony Joshua. 41-year-old Wladimir Klitschko gave the current best heavyweight in the world all that he could handle. So what does that tell you? Wladimir Klitschko's defeats have been by knockout. The vast majority, well, I think all of them, in fact, apart from Tyson Fury, if I'm not mistaken. But AJ has the power to stop him at any particular point in his career, when all's said and done. But still, Wladimir can feel that had he not had a 2-year layoff, And had he been, say, 38 instead of 41, he would have beaten Joshua. I think in his prime, he would have beaten that version of Anthony Joshua. Now, we haven't seen the prime of Anthony Joshua yet. That is still to come. But Wladimir Klitschko is a better heavyweight overall right now than Anthony Joshua. There's a long way to go, but by God, Joshua has got a lot to do to topple this guy. 64 wins, going on to fight top opposition at 41 years of age. Wladimir Klitschko did not retire fighting Conor McGregor. He gave hell and at times took the best heavyweight in the world now to school. Now, I know his era of heavyweights was not the Muhammad Ali era, but there were some really impressive moments on there. One of them was the Pulev fight. Never have I seen Klitschko look better. They say that an old champion always has one last great night in him. And that was that night. Wladimir did not hold. There wasn't much grappling. He let his hands go. He dropped the guy multiple times. Hit him with multiple shots that were similar to the ones he landed on Anthony Joshua. And bam, that was all she wrote. That was the last great performance of Vitaly Klitschko, apart from his last one against Anthony Joshua. And I think them two fights, because of very special circumstances, go down as the two best performances, in fact, of his career. Giving Anthony Joshua that style of trouble at that age is phenomenal. It's almost like what Bernard Hopkins has achieved. It's almost like what Ryan Giggs achieved in soccer for Manchester United. Still a world-class player at 40 years of age. And the Pulev fight, he wasn't so young in that either. And look what he did to a guy who is fairly well thought of in the current heavyweight climax. He knocked him out in 5 rounds. Right? Adding to the equation, the adjustments Wladimir Klitschko made when he knew that he hasn't got the strongest chin in the world. And the sign of great people is not just the skills they are born with, but how they adapt and how they somehow manage to fix or protect their frailties. And Emmanuel Stewart played a major key in that, no doubt. He was better defensively, he knew when to tie up, he knew when trouble was about to come, and he was prepared for it and used his physique. Now, of course he fought many opponents that were smaller than him, but the sign of a clever champion, of course, is matchmaking, isn't it? I mean, people give Floyd Mayweather all the credit in the world when he selects well. But the difference is, I think you've only got what's in front of you at the heavyweight division. You can't select world-class opponents like you can on a regular basis in the welterweight division. I do not think it was the prime time for heavyweight boxing during Wladimir Klitschko's reign, shall we say. But he does go down in history in my book as one of the very best. You can put him in the top 25 heavyweights of all time. I'm not saying Wladimir Klitschko for a moment, prime for prime, would beat Mike Tyson. Maybe Mike Tyson may knock him out, but I think Mike Tyson has a limited time on which to do it, i.e. 4 to 5 rounds. If Wladimir Klitschko survived that, he could beat Mike Tyson. He's capable of it. He's got the power to do it. So, overall, Mike Tyson Wladimir Klitschko. I think they are close. Maybe I'm edging Wladimir Klitschko because Wladimir Klitschko went out. He went 12 rounds with Tyson Fury. It wasn't his best night. He was clinically outboxed and outmaneuvered. 12 rounds in the bag, though. Mike Tyson was knocked out badly by, and Tyson Fury is world class. Danny Williams is not. And he knocked out old Mike Tyson. Old Wladimir Klitschko went 12 rounds with Fury. Old Wladimir Klitschko gave Anthony Joshua hell. Mike Tyson, old Mike Tyson, got beat to Kevin McBride. So, prime for prime, maybe Tyson wins. Who knows? We'll never know. But in terms of longevity, which is a key point in ranking fighters pound for pound in history, in my opinion, Wladimir Klitschko is slightly ahead of Mike Tyson in at least the top 25 heavyweights who ever graced planet Earth. So, well done to Wladimir Klitschko. I will say this, Mike Tyson, someone else may rank Mike Tyson ahead of Wladimir Klitschko, and I can agree with it to a point, because Mike Tyson was a better entertainer. When it's this close between two fighters, sometimes who is the best entertainer can give them the slight edge at the elite level. Wladimir Klitschko, people now are cheering his name, because he finally, in the Pulev fight, the Michael Jennings fight, he was back to kind of a dull style, stifling and that type of thing, holding on the inside and using a jab to sort of get his way through a fight rather than destroying a fight. So he owed the boxing community, in a sense, a great performance, and he gave us one, didn't he? The Joshua Klitschko fight will go down as amongst the best battles I have seen for years in boxing. And again, the Pulev fight, a great display against the Bulgarian. A much better display than people thought at the time. They thought Klitschko would win, but they thought it would be a bit of a snooze fest. But Wladimir turned up the heat, kind of Mike Tyson style, and knocked this guy into outer space. And if you could have put a little bit of Mike Tyson into Wladimir Klitschko the night he fought Anthony Joshua at Wembley Stadium, no doubt in my mind, he would have retired world heavyweight champion today. But as I said, common sense has prevailed. He's nothing to prove. He's at least as good as any heavyweight in the world even now. That's the time to bow out when you've still got something left, even at 41. But he is the ultimate athlete, isn't he? He's always in shape. Good luck to Wladimir Klitschko on his future career, whatever that may be. It could be politics like his brother, but he's proved himself. Come back from defeat, won world titles, and, well, the list goes on and on. He is a historical heavyweight champion. No question about it. So well done to Wladimir Klitschko. But here's the other question in this video. Should Manny Pacquiao follow the example of Wladimir Klitschko? After all, although Manny Pacquiao was a massive favourite in his last welterweight championship clash with Jeff Horn in Australia, many people underestimated how good Jeff Horn was. And Manny Pacquiao, in most people's opinion, arguably still won that fight. Jeff Horn held his own, but the stats prove Manny landed more shots and was the more accurate fighter and the more effective fighter. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Tracy Stearns of Counterpunch Boxing. Great observation. Had Manny Pacquiao's face looked like Jeff Horn's face after the fight, and had Manny Pacquiao had a round like Jeff Horn had in round 9 when he was basically out on his feet, people would have been crying till kingdom come that Manny had lost badly. But they don't say that with Jeff Horn. Yet the guy who came out fresher lost the fight. But again, most people sort of don't see it that way. So an argument could be made that Manny Pacquiao really doesn't need Jeff Horn again. Kinda really like Wladimir Klitschko really doesn't need Anthony Joshua again. Manny Pacquiao has proved that this version of himself is probably still a better fighter than Jeff Horn, even on Jeff Horn's home turf. And Wladimir Klitschko proved that he is nearly as good as Joshua now, even on Joshua's home turf. So, I'll leave really this question to you. Should Manny Pacquiao take a leaf out of Wladimir Klitschko's book? Because that win for Jeff Horn will be forever considered a controversy. Jeff Horn will never hear the last of the night that the judges didn't get it right with him and Manny Pacquiao. Timothy Bradley still hears it today, so I don't see it going away for Jeff Horn. And Manny seems to know this. Should he consider hanging them up Wladimir Klitschko's style? You could argue Manny Pacquiao is greater than Wladimir Klitschko pound for pound. He's certainly beaten the better opponents because he's had the better opponents available to him, where Wladimir Klitschko really hasn't in his era. Manny Pacquiao's era was a good one. He had many good fighters. We all know the story. I personally don't think Manny Pacquiao is going to follow Wladimir Klitschko's suit, because I think Wladimir Klitschko is a far more calculated character than Manny Pacquiao. Even though they're both sort of political figures, there's still a warrior inside Manny Pacquiao that is kind of related to Roy Jones or Evander Holyfield, where Wladimir Klitschko is more Joe Calzaghe and Lennox Lewis. But, again, here's the question. Should Manny Pacquiao take the example of Wladimir Klitschko, hold his head up high, continue his work in politics in the Senate, and say, I'm the only 8-division world champion, and one day me and Wladimir Klitschko will meet at a political table and shake hands on great careers in the squared circle. So, where are we at? We're at 18 minutes. This is probably one of my shortest videos ever. Short and sweet because Wladimir Klitschko's career at the end was sweet, even if it was a little dull at the beginning. We can never really accuse Manny Pacquiao of being dull at any time in his career, can we? But two legends. Manny Pacquiao is on the pound-for-pound all-time great list. I don't know if Wladimir Klitschko in my book quite gets on the pound-for-pound best ever, but he definitely gets on the best heavyweights of all time. So congratulations to Wladimir Klitschko. This is Champions of Champions Boxing Talk. I'm out.